In a nation built by immigrants, what does it mean when the fundamental right to citizenship is suddenly under threat? Let's dive in.
Executive order to cut off birthright citizenship is also facing legal challenges. Trump is accused of trying to eliminate a, quote, well-established and long-standing constitutional principle by executive. Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays is calling Trump's executive action nakedly unconstitutional. Here's what she had to say.
This lawless order is not only nakedly unconstitutional, it is an attack on families and children in this state and across this country.
Signing an executive order aimed at ending birthright citizenship was not the first thing Donald did. No, that would have been taking care of the extremely important business of making sure flags are flown at full staff on Inauguration Day henceforth. But seriously, why do this? Executive orders cannot go against the Constitution or against standing laws. So clearly, somebody in Donald's orbit who wrote this executive order is trying to put the conversation of ending birthright citizenship in the public consciousness, which is dangerous enough. Let's compare and contrast, shall we? President Biden's first executive orders, basically, after requiring the executive branch appointees to sign an ethics pledge, barring them from acting in personal interest and requiring them to uphold the independence of the Department of Justice, for example, he extended deportation deferrals and work permits for Liberians seeking safe haven. He ended the border wall construction by canceling the national emergency declared by Donald. He reversed Donald's expanded immigration enforcement policies. He lifted Trump-era travel bans on seven Muslim-majority countries, and he strengthened DACA protections for undocumented children after Donald's rollback attempts. Now, why is there such a sort of unbridgeable contrast between the first 24 hours of Biden's and Donald's administrations? Well, the fact that Biden has a heart, that actually is a good place to start. He also recognized that immigrants coming to America, the idea of immigrants coming to America is foundational to our nation and our understanding of ourselves as a nation as outlined in the Constitution, something that Donald clearly doesn't understand and obviously a document he's never read. Maybe, just maybe, that's why Donald is moving to end birthright citizenship, why his move to do so has sparked such immediate and intense backlash, both in legal circles and among the public. Before we get to the rest of this, though, please take a second to like and share this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And after you subscribe, click the bell so you will be alerted every time a new video drops. If you're listening to us in podcast form, thank you so much. We can be found anywhere you listen to podcasts. Also, if you could follow us and give us a 5-star review, which helps other people find us, that would be awesome. All right, I want to start with the legal challenges that this executive order has prompted and why people who actually know what they're talking about are calling this executive order an assault on the Constitution itself. Now, obviously, this hasn't gone unchallenged. As I said, an executive order has no weight and cannot be enforced if it is itself unconstitutional, which this one is, of course. So a coalition of Democratic states and their attorneys general are taking a stand to protect the constitutional guarantee to birthright citizenship as it is enshrined in the 14th Amendment. Of course, we have to worry about the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court because they are expected to play a crucial role in determining the fate of Donald's executive order targeting birthright citizenship. So while the issue has not officially reached the court, it will probably take some time to do that, legal experts predict that it will. This is going all the way to the Supreme Court. And you can bet that Donald and his racist, anti-immigrant, hateful allies are banking on that. SCOTUS's current conservative supermajority may be sympathetic to the arguments that reinterpret the 14th Amendment, which again guarantees citizenship to anybody born on U.S. soil, even if your parents are not American. The court's past reluctance to endorse executive overreach on immigration matters suggests that the decision is far from certain. But of course, we remember what they did with the presidential immunity decision, which was completely anti-constitutional. Observers believe that this will test the balance between constitutional originalism and the broader implications of altering a long-standing constitutional right. Again, from the perspective of the most corrupt, the most illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court in modern history. So according to CNN, lawsuits have been filed by 24 Democratic states and cities against the executive order, arguing that obviously it violates the 14th Amendment, which grants citizenship to anybody born on U.S. soil. New Jersey Democratic Attorney General Matt Platkin said Tuesday that he's leading a group of 18 states, including the District of Columbia and the city of San Francisco. In addition, 4 other states filed a separate suit in a federal court later that day, bringing the number of states challenging this executive order to 22. Let's take a look.
Today, I'm announcing that New Jersey is leading a group of 18 states, the District of Columbia, and the city of San Francisco, in filing a suit to block President Trump's executive order eliminating birthright citizenship for many Americans. The executive order renders many children born on American soil without citizenship, creating for the first time a class of American-born children whose health and well-being are threatened by their own government. This is an extreme and unprecedented act, and this executive order is an assault on the rule of law. It attacks a right that is core to our nation's earliest days. Presidents in this country have broad powers, but they are not kings.
Well, it depends who you ask. I'm not entirely sure that the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority would say that he's not a king. They're certainly trying to make him one. I want to take a step back for 1 second and just, again, remind us that this country, this America, was built by immigrants. But before we got here, there was a native population. There were hundreds of thriving societies and culture in pre-America, North America. And we stole that land to build this country by kidnapping and enslaving another entire race of people. The 14th Amendment exists because finally, after hundreds of years, the enslaved African people were freed. And to prevent them from being deported or not having the full rights of citizenship, the 14th Amendment granted it to anybody born in this country, regardless of where their parents came from. That's what Donald and his cronies are trying to overturn. So I want you to watch this clip that delves a little bit more deeply into the 14th Amendment.
Now, as we mentioned, President Trump signing an executive order tonight that attempts to end birthright citizenship in the United States. That right is guaranteed by the Constitution. The 14th Amendment states anyone born in the United States is an American citizen. But President Trump wants to exclude children born to parents who entered this country illegally.
He'd have to change the Constitution of the United States and revoke the 14th Amendment. Last time I checked, presidents can't do that all by executive authority. Now, can he try to cripple it, undermine it?
Yeah, last time I checked, presidents don't have broad immunity for official acts, no matter how corrupt and criminal they are. Anyway, it's going to take a long time for this one to play out. Obviously, as mentioned, there are the legal challenges, but there are also troubling signs of how this policy is being weaponized politically, even going so far as to target individuals based on their beliefs. We have political figures who are using this policy shift to do so, which raises concerns about selective enforcement. The so-called Kamala clause in Donald's executive order appears to be a politically charged provision aimed at questioning the citizenship status of individuals like former Vice President Kamala Harris, whose parents were immigrants. Critics argue that this clause is an attempt to sow doubt about the legitimacy of her eligibility for public office, despite the fact that she was born in the United States and is inarguably an American citizen under the 14th Amendment. The clause has been widely criticized as a veiled attack on political opponents, maybe not so veiled, perhaps, and a dangerous precedent for selective application of constitutional rights. One way we can tell just how much trouble we're in is they're not even bothering to hide it anymore. So how far are Republicans willing to go for Donald on this issue? Are we really talking about changing the Constitution? Check out this clip from Democratic Representative, the awesome J.B. Raskin.
Unbelievable that a lot of my friends on the other side of the aisle are sitting by idly while Donald Trump proposes by executive order to destroy Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, which establishes that everybody born in the United States is a citizen of the United States. And yet they just let that go. All of these originalists and textualists who claim to care about what the Constitution stands for, that was the whole purpose and meaning of the 14th Amendment, and now they want to destroy birthright citizenship in America, moving to a citizenship based on race instead of a citizenship based on place, which was the whole purpose of the 14th Amendment, to overturn the Dred Scott decision. They said they were going to bring down prices in rent and utilities, energy costs. They said they were going to bring down the price of groceries. Not a single peep from them about that on day one. No, it's just about releasing all the violent insurrectionists, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers who are out there today saying that they want revenge.
Never, ever pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what they're doing. If you remember yesterday, I played the clip for you of Bishop Marianne Edgar Budd for the Interfaith post-inauguration day ceremony, in which she urged Donald, I'm sure her words were completely wasted, but she urged him to be kind to members of communities who are at risk, like the LGBTQ plus community and immigrants. I called it. I said, I bet you guys somebody is going to call for her to be deported. Guess what? That's exactly what happened. We have a lot of Republican backlash from the fact that Bishop Budd, who is a Christian, was acting like a Christian. Heaven forfend. But yeah, because of that, because she called for civility and kindness and asked one of the most cruel people on the planet not to be so cruel. We have Representative Mike Collins of Georgia, not just criticizing Budd's statement, but saying this in a post. Quote, the person giving this sermon should be added to the deportation list, unquote. Why? Why? Well, I'm sure Fox can set us right.
For this bishopess to use this moment, Laura, that's supposed to be an interfaith prayer service into a political lecture, it's really a misuse of religion here. And, I mean, you know, they came together, the Trump family, the Vance family, they came to pray for the nation, not to be lectured by this woman who looks like, you know, Kate McKinnon after a rainstorm. I mean, she's a mess. And the speech was a complete, like, discarded propaganda you'd hear in Union Square or something.
How dare she call for generosity and kindness and, I don't know, acting like somebody who cares about other human beings in a church. You charlatan. Yeah, love the ad hominem attacks, you little fucker. What is wrong with these people? I'll tell you what's wrong with these people. They listen to this guy. Here's Donald at 1:00 in the morning. saying, quote, the so-called bishop, well, actually, she's a bishop, who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. He's a good judge of those things. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. Unlike his rallies, she's not very good at her job. Yeah. Being Christian. She and her church owe the public an apology, unquote. Buckle up, guys. We're just getting started. Yes, what, 48 hours, something like that. Anyway, in light of all of this, I want to share my family's history with birthright citizenship because, I don't know, it might be instructive in helping you see just how craven and hypocritical this all is. Because remember those immigrants who helped build the country? America was also a country that took people in, right? America was a beacon. It was the place to go to chase the American dream. The streets were paved with gold and all of that. Well, my grandmother, my dad's mom, also Mary McLeod from Scotland, arrived by ship to New York City, where two of her sisters already lived. My grandmother was the youngest of 10. And not a problem. She got a job as like I don't know what kind of maid she was, but she was certainly low down in the totem pole, working for Andrew Carnegie's widow on the Upper East Side. My great-grandparents, Donald's grandparents, my grandfather's parents, came here from Germany. They only spoke German. My grandfather grew up in Queens, New York, speaking German. When they got here, I think they had one child. My grandfather was the second, so they had their daughter. And then my great-grandmother, Elizabeth, got homesick, so they tried to go back to Germany. Could you imagine if this had worked? How world history would have changed. Germany would not let my great-grandparents back in because my great-grandfather, Friedrich, had evaded military service. So they got kicked back to America, and the rest, sadly, is history. So my grandfather, Fred, is an anchor baby. So remember that the next time you hear Donald Trump, of all people, going on about birthright citizenship, he doesn't care. He didn't write that executive order. He just wants to hurt as many people in this country as humanly possible. Jamie Raskin's right. What are you doing about the price of eggs? What are you doing to help the average American worker? Raising the price of their medications, perhaps? None of this helps America. None of this helps Americans. It's going to do much, much, much more harm than good. We'll keep an eye on it. I think all bets are off here because of the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court. Things we could take for granted, we no longer can. So I urge you, if you are in a position to, be as kind as possible to any undocumented workers you might know. Band together. Let's figure out ways to protect these people who pick our food and serve us in restaurants and clean our hotel rooms and mow our lawns. They are vital, not just to the American economy, but to who we are as a people. We cannot let Donald Trump's and the Republican Party's nightmare vision of America become reality. Eyes wide open, everybody. Please leave a comment below and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you. Please take a second and like and share this video. Be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form,
please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.